Welcome. Great to see you tonight. Do you control your time or does it control you? You have so much time, so much to get done in a day, right? There's only 24 hours. Who here wish they had more time in a day? Raise your hand or put your thumbs up or down. And you don't get more because you have more to do. I understand this. I'm a mother of 4. I'm a wife. I'm a business owner, a grandma. How do you get it all done? Have you learned how to use time blocking to be successful? People struggle with time. Have you had a time you struggled with time? Raise your hand if this is you, or put a thumbs up if you got it all figured out. As I've been working on getting my life in order, I realized that time is an area I really struggle with. Time is such an important aspect of one's life, but do we actually work on budgeting it? I'd like to explain to you how you can control your time rather than letting it control you. It is a 4-step process. First, we prioritize your time. What are your priorities? Does your time reflect that? Then we need to evaluate your time. Then we need to restructure your time, doing a self-evaluation once a year. First, you need to figure out what's important to you. Who here has their priorities in order? Raise your hand if you're good and put thumb down if you need to improve. Who here feels like they got it all figured out, right? We have little emojis that we could be using in our Zoom here today. But I hate that I only have 24 hours and I have to sleep about 8 hours. And believe me, if I don't get my sleep, I am grumpy. I don't know about you. Some people can make it on less than 8 hours. I wish I was one of them, but I can't. So that really only leaves me 16 hours. And then I got to figure out how to eat and get all those other demands on my schedule figured out. So are you running your schedule or is your schedule running you? Raise your hand if you have it all figured out, or give a thumbs down if you think you could improve in this area. I am sure you are saying, but I can't get everything done. And you're right, but you can make sure to get the important things done by prioritizing. We each have different values, different directions, and goals in our life. Write those down. What are your values? What direction are you going with? And what goals do you have in your life? We want to have time for things that we enjoy in life and still have time to make money and get that work done. I'm sure you are one of those as well. But how do we budget our time? Will make all the difference between time controlling us and us controlling it. Now, when I reflect on my life, I look at what's important to me. I realize I need time with God. You know, if I don't get time with God, I'm not as nice of a person. So that's important to me. So I have to have time with God. I need time with my family, my husband, my children, my grandchildren. And I need time of my own activities outside of my family, such as my friends. And I need time to exercise and eat right. And I need time to sleep. I talked about that, right? If I don't get my sleep or I don't eat right, I get grumpy. I don't know about you. And then I need to relax and slow down. And then I need time for my business. In the comments, put what's important to you. What are some of those things that you need in your life to have time for? Let's comment and make comments in the comment section. How much time have you heard people say, yeah, I want to do that, but they don't have time? I have a question. When you look at your priorities of what you have time for, go ahead and put those in the comment. But is it a time issue or is it a priority issue? Put that in the comment. What do you think? Which is it? Right? Because we need to know what's important, but we also need to prioritize. Is it a time issue or is it a priority issue? Who here has a to-do list? Does everybody have a to-do list every day? I know I have a to-do list, and sometimes it's bigger than what you can get done, right? Do you have those days when you have more to do than you do time, right? Then we need to evaluate the time. Do where we spend our time match those goals, values, and direction we want for our life and our business or our career? Comment in the chat. is where you're spending your time reflecting right there where you have your values and your direction and what you want to get done. Like today, right? Even public speaking, is that one of your priorities? Once you have a priority, then you can see the forest among the trees and learn what you want. Therefore, being able to realize what you may be doing in your life that really doesn't matter to you. People talk about budgeting money. I don't like to call it budgeting money. I call it a pre-spending plan because nobody likes the word budget. But how many people talk about budgeting their time or having a pre-spending time, right? You need to learn to budget or have a pre-spending about where you're spending your time. You need to schedule your time. If you have time budget, right, or spending all day long, then show a heart. In those emojis, let's show some hearts if you got that figured out. And if not, let's do a thumbs down, right? We need to be worrying about our schedule. Do you realize that we live in a very fast-paced world? We live in today. It's so easy to get caught up running around like a hamster on a wheel, really going nowhere because of not managing one of our most valued assets, time, wisely. Let our priorities and then our priorities end up getting overlooked. Who struggles with that? They just feel like a hamster in a wheel, not getting anything done because they're not scheduling their time wisely. If you take the next 4 weeks or month, write this down, the next 4 weeks or month, and actually track your time, finding out where you spend it, you might be amazed at how you let those unimportant things get in the way of what is important. Now, if you have one of those schedule things where, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you could write it down. If not, let's just use a piece of notebook and start writing down for 4 weeks, okay? Just 4 weeks. And you'll start realizing, what are you really doing? And is that what you really want to be doing, right? Who here has ever tracked their time? Comment in the chat, yes or no. Have you tracked your time for a whole day or for a whole month, like I'm suggesting? Now, once we have that, now we can restructure your time to fit those values, goals, and priorities. I hope you guys wrote those down. Your values, not mine. Your goals, not mine. Your priorities, not mine, because it's your life. It's your career. It's your business. Do you know that time is a precious gift that can't be stored away? It's used up every day, one way or another. Whereas money can be stored for a rainy day. And if you're not saving for a rainy day with your money, you should. But that's not what we're talking about today, right? We're talking about time. Time cannot be stored up. And how much time do you have on this life? Do you know? So if we're not careful with our time, we'll find out that we are constantly putting out fires instead of moving forward in our life, our business, our career, right? And living our purpose on purpose. Can you write that down? Living your purpose on purpose with your time. It's your most valuable resource. I know you are valuable too, but your time. Now, if you look at how much time you're spending watching TV or working on projects that really are not important to you, or how many times do you get locked on Pinterest or social media or oh my gosh, how much time do we waste on computers nowadays with all of the bells and whistles? Is that what you want to do? That's fine if that's what's important to you. But how many times do you find yourself going down a rabbit hole that's not even important to you? But once you figure out what you're doing with your time, then you can eliminate the unimportant and make more time for your, not mine, your priorities and your goals. So once we organize your time, my time, right? Your time, though, to meet your goals and priorities, you'll find you have more time to do what's important to you. Write that down. Once you organize your time, you can meet more goals and priorities, what's important to you. Because we only have this one life to live, right? And yeah, we have to go to work and we might love our work, but we each only have 24 hours in a day. And how we use it is up to us. Write that down. How you use your time is up to you. If you're like me, I've had a lot of loss in my life. I almost died 4.5 years ago. I'm lucky to still be alive. But we know, right? We know that time is valuable, but yet we let it fall through our fingers. So let's work on that as we're going into the second half of the year. We're going into, some of us are starting New Year's in our business or our other things, right? As we're going into this month. So then we need to look at restructuring our time. Do you realize that throughout your life, your goals will change? So you need to reevaluate and replan your life as they change. Doing this once a year is a great idea. Doing it every 6 months is even a better idea. And doing it quarterly, have you ever thought of that? Or monthly is such a good idea. You know that life is a journey. And as we go through the journey, our values change. I love this Bible scripture. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. I'm in a different season of my life. I've raised 4 kids. I'm an empty nester now. And you would think I would have more time. But you find that your time gets filled with other priorities, other goals as you change into seasons, right? I'm even have aging parents and I'm an empty nester. It's, all the things going on in your life. But what do you have in your life? What season are you in? What's your priorities and your goals? So a question to ask yourself is, are you going the way you want, or do you need to think about reworking your plan to get there? Write that down. Are you going the way you want, or do you need to think about reworking your plan to get there? What we say yes to and what we say no to matters. Did you hear me? Every time you say yes to something, you say no to something else. Did you realize that? So are you saying yes to the things that are important in your life, or are you saying no to those things? So as you go through and you do your schedule for this next month, look at those things as you're putting together what your priorities and your goals for this season and your values. Don't forget your values. We need to do a self-reflecting and replan, like I said. In conclusion, though, we must be careful with our time, because how we budget our time will either support our goals or get in the way of them. If you ask someone what he or she wants from anyone, what do you think it is? Time. Do you know that time is a gift we can give to others, but we also can take it from others? Do you respect other people's time? Do you thank people for their time? Because they can't get it back. It's such a valuable resource. So as you are evaluating, start thinking about time and how important it is. You can make more money. You cannot make more time. Time is really hard to measure, but the way we invest our time can pay off later. We can leave a legacy for life to our children, to our grandchildren, to our spouses, to our friends, to the world by thinking we have done what we have done with our time we spent. How can something so simple be so important, yet we overlook its importance in our life every day? That reminds me of a song, Live Like You're Dying by Tim McGrath. If you give a person 6 months to live, they become so much more aware of how precious time is. But we waste it like it will always be there. What will you do with your time? Write it down. What will you do with your time? How much more time do you have on this earth? Do you have to wait until we're dying to realize the value of time? I hope not. Using your time more wisely can make your life more enjoyable and actually prolong your life because you're less stressed and you benefit you in so many other ways. Time doesn't stand still for no one. So can you be more conscious about what you're spending your time? I am giving you that challenge today, right? To realize what you're doing with your priorities and your goals and your values and what you want for your life, your business, your career. That is what I would love for you to think about.